All right. Okay, guys, just waiting for everyone to get on. We're going to be talking all things real estate with my good friend and real estate, I don't want to say guru, but he knows his stuff. He has been investing in real estate for decades now. Andre Johnson. So he'll be joining our live. So I just want to talk to him about his real estate experience. He's literally been investing, I think, since the early 2000s. He's done flips. He's done wholesaling. I know he's worked with people who do Airbnb. I have actually spoken to his private groups before. So we're going to be talking all things real estate. I wanted to get his take on, the current real estate market as well. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So he will be joining us in just a second. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for him, feel free to ask any questions you might have about Airbnb, about real estate, my real estate experience. Some of you know that before I did Airbnb, before and during really, I also did wholesaling. So how many of you guys, well, first of all, let me know where you guys are from. Where are you joining me from in this live? Drop that in the chat, in the comments. I am currently in Las Vegas. Some of you guys know that already, but where is everyone else from? I'm not seeing that yet. So, I see Atlanta. That's awesome. I know a lot of people are in Atlanta right now. New Orleans, nice. North Carolina, sweet. Okay, I think Andre is here. Do you speak at events such as boss brunches? It depends where it's located. I do a lot more virtual stuff. Oh shoot, where'd his request go? Here we go. Let me let him join. Okay. I do more virtual right now just because of COVID and everything, but depending on where it's located, I am always happy to talk about all that. All right, so Andre is on with us live. Hey, Andre, how are you?
Hey, Nana, how are you?
Good. So I'm so excited to have you on this live. I was telling everyone that I've known you for a while. You've been in the real estate game for, I said since the early 2000s. Is that right?
That's about right. Yeah,
Yes.
about 20 years now.
Yeah. So,
Don't make me sound too old now.
well, you look 20, so it's all good. But yeah,
Appreciate it.
I wanted to talk to someone like yourself who really has seen all the different real estate markets that we have experienced in the last, like you said, 20 years, and kind of get your thoughts on where things are now, your experience, and just share that with my audience, because I know a lot of people come to my page and come to my lives because they're interested in Airbnb, but that's just one piece of the real estate world. And I know that you have some experience in working with people who do Airbnb as well. So just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that and let you introduce yourself to everyone who's on with us.
All right, well, thanks for having me. So, yes, I've been now a real estate investor and running a real estate business for about 20 years and seen a number of market cycles. And before we get too deep into that, just a quick background on myself. So, like many of you, I wasn't born into real estate wealth or real estate investing family. So I went to college, got a engineering degree, and the farthest thing away from real estate investing, right? So it just happened that a friend of mine that I met, at my first employer working for a pharmaceutical company, he was house hacking. He didn't call it that at the time. We didn't call it that, but he was living in a two-unit apartment, renting out the first floor, living on the top floor, and was able to have a tenant paying for his rent and mortgage, so to speak, so living rent and mortgage free. So long story short, he was looking for a way to scale acquisitions and wanted to partner with me. And, like I was at the time, like many people, stuck in neutral, paralysis by analysis. And it took me 18 months of spinning wheels, running into dead ends to actually get that first deal done. And it wasn't until actually took his guidance as a mentor. That friend of mine, Sean, took his guidance as a mentor. I was able to acquire my first 6 properties in the early 2000s in Wilmington, Delaware area. And so since then, have really made it, my mission. It's been a passion of mine to help other investors that are either just getting started or that are trying to take their real estate investing businesses to the next level, really implementing some of the, creative strategies that I learned from Sean about 20 years ago. And of course, enhanced and developed my own strategies of, how to find good deals off market, directly talking to motivated sellers, how to creatively structure those deals, and then how to, put those deals together to make them win-win for the seller. And of course, profitable for you as an investor to cash flow or to wholesale or to fix and flip or Airbnb, whatever your desired exit strategy is.
Absolutely. So here's a question for you. Like if someone is brand spanking new, they've been kind of following the real estate world for a while, what would you suggest is like the best way for them to get started? I know some people say you should start with wholesaling. Some people are like, no, just go in and fix and flip or buy and hold. What would you suggest would be the first thing they should do?
Okay, so I'm going to go against the grain and say that you shouldn't just run to wholesaling, or you shouldn't just run to do a fix and flip, or you shouldn't just run to get into short-term rentals. You shouldn't run to get into any specific strategy or specific type of deal. You should build your strategy. So you have to, when you're looking to get started in real estate, look at real estate as a business, not just like one transaction. Like, I don't know when you first started, Nana, but do you kind of remember back, I know I do, to just having like my life's mission to get that first deal done, right? It's like, you've got to get that first deal done. Whereas if you look at real estate investing like any other business, like if you were going to start, a mom and pop deli, or if you were going to start a barbershop or whatever it is, you wouldn't say, oh my gosh, I gotta get that first haircut in. You know what I mean? You would put together a business plan, right? So I would recommend to anyone looking to get started in real estate, before you just get frustrated with chasing the first deal, get with a mentor, get with a strategic coach, and build out a nice 3 to 5 year strategic plan, right? That gives you like clarity over, okay, what am I going to do? Who am I going to do it with? Because of course you're not going to, make real estate successful just working by yourself, right? You have to have a team around you. So what am I going to do? Who am I going to do it with? How are we going to finance it and fund it, so forth and so on. I think if taking that measured approach, right, and taking a step back and building out a nice strategic plan with a mentor or a strategic coach, it goes so far in the success rate of the people that I know and the people that I work with, right? As opposed to just like, chasing deals and spinning wheels, just trying to go 100 miles per hour, but not knowing exactly where you're going. Does that make sense?
It does, and it's a really good point because I feel like, so I started wholesaling like a crazy person. I started when I was still in law school because I don't know why I thought adding something new would be good. But when I first started, I was doing what you're saying not to do. I was just kind of like, I gotta get my first deal. Gotta get this first deal. I go to these RIA meetings, but I didn't really have like a mentor. And it wasn't until I got a mentor who was like, this is the first thing you need to do, and this is why you need to do it, and this is how you do it, and that I started to actually get like consistent deal flow and deals coming through. So what would you say, like, what's the best way? Because especially in this social media world, there are so many gurus, so many people, and not saying anybody's bad or whatever, but how do you make that decision on who to allow to mentor you? Because it's a big decision, right? Like that person is going to kind of lead you on that path. So how do you make that decision? And I'm just going to change my filter because I think I look crazy. But go ahead.
You're fine. You're fine. So, like anything, right? I mean, if you are, for example, out in an area you're not familiar, you're going to, of course, check Yelp, or you're going to check, Google reviews for, a restaurant, to eat, right? So with real estate investing, I would also suggest, talk to someone that's worked with that particular person, or, check out, their social media or their website, see if they have testimonials for exactly what you want to do. So, for example, of course, people that are, on your stream that are thinking about getting started in Airbnb, they can, of course, say, hey, well, Nana's helped many investors to, start their Airbnb business. And for me, investors come to me, again, looking to get started or looking to take their business to the next level. And it may not be Airbnb specifically, but it may be building out a real estate investing business along the lines I mentioned earlier, with a strategy in place. And so, that's really what I recommend, is just making sure that person has a track record of helping people like yourself, right? So if you're looking to, for example, to acquire real estate investing units to build a portfolio, well, if that person only has experience or only has helped people to wholesale properties, that might not be the right mentor or strategic, coach for you. So, I know personally, just, speaking to my experience, when I started early 2000s, I wanted to do it all. So I wanted to become experienced in all aspects of real estate. So I've wholesale properties, I've fixed and flip properties, I've done the BRRRR method, the fix and hold method, acquired a portfolio of units, 50 units that had my rental portfolio, mixed family, mixed use, multifamily, residential, and I've really helped students and investors along the way do the same. And so actually, Nana, last year, I want to thank you because you helped to get the word out about my book. My book, Deal Mastery, hit the #1 best-selling position on Amazon last year. And that book, yes, woohoo, yes, that book. Thank you, thank you. So my book, Deal Mastery, and you can get it at dealmasterybook.com. It was not just about me; it was about the journey that I've taken helping other investors to, again, get started or to take their real estate investing businesses to the next level. And so that's why I entitled it, this long title, Deal Mastery, Real Estate Investing Guide to Finding Deals, Joint Venturing, Taking Massive Action, and Leaving a Legacy. So if anyone wants a copy of the book, I'll send you a copy of the book for free, just paper shipping and handling. You can go to dealmasterybook.com.
Nice. I wanted to ask you, so with having that wide breadth of experience, is there like at this point in your real estate journey, is there any particular strategy that you kind of focus on or prefer more than others at this point?
Great question. So, for people that are, and this is why I really stress the importance of building a strategy, right? Because it can be very tempting to just, take quick money, for example, as a wholesaler, right? So just take quick money, right? So there might be a deal, that you've come across, 123 Main Street. So that property.
Before you go forward, just for some people who may be really brand new and don't know what wholesaling is, in a quick couple sentences, can you explain wholesaling?
Sure. So wholesaling is the process of taking a property and putting it under control. So you control that property, and then you essentially sell the rights to buy that property to someone else. And, that transaction enables you to essentially earn a fee, a wholesale fee for actually, bringing together seller A with buyer C, with you, the wholesale buyer B, being in between. So it's connecting two parties, you making a fee for it, is the simplest way of putting it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So as a new investor, you see on the late night infomercials, you see on TV, on the internet, how easy it is to get involved in real estate. And so people gravitate towards trying to get that, quick cash, that fast money. And a lot of times a given, property, a given deal, so to speak, 123 Main Street, anywhere USA in your targeted area, desired area, that property could be a good deal for you to wholesale it to make, quick cash, $5,000, in 2 weeks. Alternatively, that could be, 5,000 quick cash, plan A. Plan B could be, that you actually buy the property and you make $500 worth of cash flow. Your tenant pays $1,200 in rent. You get a mortgage on the property, or you get the seller to help finance it. Maybe your payment, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, is $700 a month, and so you bring in $1,200. You have to pay out $700 in your mortgage payment, and that's a $500 cash flow you make monthly. And over the course of the first year, 500 times 12, you make $6,000. And so a lot of times people say, well, I'll just take the $5,000. I don't want to deal with tenants and toilets, right? So the question you asked me is, have I settled in on a certain strategy? Well, as I get older, you start to realize, okay, well, I really want to slow down as I start to gradually progress through my, entrepreneurship and my real estate investing career. And when you want to slow down, guess what all of us come to reality and grips with as we start to slow down? I like to have a nice, steady stream of income. And no matter how much you have as a steady stream of income, passive income,
Right.
different from the income that a lot of us are used to, the kind where we trade our time for money. We commonly refer to that as what?
Active.
A job, right?
Right.
A job, right? Active income. So, we really want to, as we, progress through our life and our life cycle and our careers and business cycles, the older we get, a lot of us want to, kind of get more passive income. We want to take it easier and then have an off ramp for our retirement, for the lifestyle that we really want and deserve, the ability to travel, the ability to vacation, the ability to, work in our charities, spend more time with loved ones, friends. And that's really what your real estate business should do for you, right? It should do all of those things. And so that's where I say the best thing you can do for anyone looking to get started, take a step back, work with a mentor, strategic coach, and figure out how you can get to that place sooner rather than later. And that endpoint, 5 to 10 years from now, you could start with that as a goal, and then you just start with a game plan, a 12-month plan, and have milestones every quarter to just help you to just get there, step by step.
Yeah, that's such a good point that you make, because hindsight, especially as you get older, is, such 2020, because like I said, I was wholesaling back in like 2010, 2011,
Yep.
2012, when looking back, how cheap those deals and properties were, that if I had held on to them, I would have awesome cash flow right now. And that's all I want in my life at this point in my life. All
Cash
I
flow.
want is passive income. Like, I don't want to be running around doing all this. I'm good on that, good on that active. Of course, there's upfront work that you have to put in to get the property and all that. But when I tell you, I look back at some of those deals, like how good they were. And for those of you who are just joining and didn't hear about wholesaling, this would be a property, a house that I would find off market. I would negotiate with the seller directly, get it under contract. Just say, for example purposes, I get it under contract for $100,000, and that's way below market value. And then I would assign that contract to someone like Andre, who knows better and is going to be, I shouldn't say knows better, but is in a place where they want, to either fix and flip or buy and hold or something like that. I assign it to him, and my fee is like $10,000, or $5,000. So that's money I've got in my pocket today, or at the time, let's say 2011. But if I had held on to that property, figured out a way to finance it and all that good stuff, I would potentially still have that property and been making, let's say, 500 or however much per month in cash flow every month for the rest of the time that I own the property. So that is the benefit of, there's nothing wrong with wholesaling, because like we said, it's that quick.
No, nothing wrong with it.
Quick cash, and maybe you come across a deal that you don't even want. So wholesaling is great for that, but I'm here with Andre, where I'm just like, I love the idea of the passive income.
So understanding exactly what Nana and I are saying, right? So we're not poo-pooing on wholesaling. We're not talking down fix and flips. We're not, talking down any particular real estate strategy. All of these strategies have their place, and all of them can work for you as additional streams of income and a infusion of capital for you at the right place and time. The key is, though, however, is knowing you, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, knowing your preferences, and that all is rooted in your strategic plan, and then just carrying out your game plan based off of exactly what you want your goals to be 3, 5, 7, 10 years down the road. So does that mean you might do a wholesale deal here and there for quick cash while you are looking for Airbnb short-term rentals? Sure. Or if you're someone that wants to just fix and flip, you don't want to have any rentals, if that's part of your business plan, maybe, of course, you might do a wholesale deal here and there, or you might decide, hey, I'll partner with someone that wants to do a small apartment complex or an Airbnb complex. So again, it just starts with making sure you know what your strategy is, and then building out a game plan to actually implement that strategy.
Absolutely. So if you guys have any questions for myself or Andre, just you can start putting them in the chat. But what I wanted to ask you is, having seen all the different real estate markets, like we talked about back in 2008, you know, 2016, 2020. What are your thoughts on the current market right now? Because it has been like such a roller coaster since, I'd say, 2020, right?
Right. So, I think, if you talk to anyone that is actually in the marketplace, so they're evaluating deals, they're doing deals, they have properties they're in the process of renovating to flip, or any part of the vertical space of real estate investing, they will tell you that yes, it's been super crazy over the pandemic because, of course, there was lower inventory than usual during the pandemic, and that really, in combination with historically low interest rates, really just forced the values of properties, up 20, 30%, and maybe even more in certain markets. And so we know, Nana, you've been doing this for over a decade. I've been doing this for over 2 decades. We know that, increases of values like that, is not sustainable, right? So we know that property values aren't going to keep going up, 20, 30% year over year. So just common sense, we know that the market's going to slow down some, right? So let's just put that out there. The market's going to slow down. Now, are we in store for like some 2008 crash? Like none of us really, know that. But what we can say though is that as long as, the interest rates stay historically low, as long as you can, cash flow properties in your desired areas, and you buy properties without speculative purposes, meaning you buy a property, you're not trying to, for example, force some type of, flip profit in 3 months. You're not trying to buy something and then quickly turn it around because, the values went up 25% in 6 months, like buy a pre-construction property and sell it, after the property's been built. So as long as you're doing things that are non-speculative, like buying something for cash flow, if the market softens a little bit, maybe values go down 5, 10%, but as long as the property is cash flowing, those are the types of deals I see that are going to be timeless and are going to still be executed by investors during this next 2 to 3 to 5 years without any fear of, whether the market softens or not, because interest rates are historically low. And if you can lock up a 30-year mortgage for, investor clients of ours are getting rates, high threes, low fours, 30-year fixed mortgage. When I first got started in the late 90s, early 2000s, an investor rate for a non-owner occupant property for a rental was like 8.75%. Okay.
Wow.
Now I'm not going to say I was someone that got started like in the late 70s when it was 22%, but it was 8.75% when I first got started to get a non-owner occupant loan. In other words, simply, an investor loan for a rental. And so to be able to get a 30-year fixed mortgage for high threes, low fours, even if the market softens some, you're not going to be any worse for wear with those types of transactions. So that's really just reiterates your point and my point that right now, you can't go wrong with cash flow, cash flow, cash flow, and that's with traditional and or short-term rentals.
Absolutely. And that's a good point about same thing with short-term rentals. I always tell people, like, you need to make data-driven decisions, right? You have to make sure that the numbers actually make sense. Even for your short-term rental Airbnb, don't just go off of, oh, everyone's making money in this city. Like, you have to look and see, does the rent that I'm going to pay if I'm doing, rental arbitrage, or the mortgage I'm going to pay if I'm actually buying a property for short-term rental, does it make sense in addition to all the other expenses that I have for what this nightly rate can be, for this property?
Yes.
So I want to, someone had a question, Freedom
Sure.
Map Apparel. Do you need any capital to start wholesale? And what certification do you need to get started? That's a great question.
Okay, so I can't speak to every jurisdiction in the country because in different parts of the country, you take a city like Philadelphia, a state like New York, you may have different rules as it pertains to wholesaling, but so check the local jurisdictions where you're planning on doing your wholesaling. But for the most part, contract law allows for, when I say contract law, just universally in America, you have the right to put something under contract with another party, whether it be a person or a company. And so that right, that privilege we are afforded through contract law gives us the ability to put a property under contract with the seller. So you find a property owner, John or Jane Doe, they have a property 123 Main Street, and you can put that property, a purchase and sale agreement, and you can agree to purchase that property for an agreed upon price. And in most jurisdictions, you have the right to be able to then assign or transfer your rights to buy that property to another person. And so with that right, you're able to then, get that other person to pay you a fee to stand in your shoes to buy that property. And that's what we call wholesaling or generating a wholesale fee. Again, it's as simple as, you, a prospective investor or wholesaler, finding John or Jane Doe, seller A, and then putting that property under contract, and then finding, wholesale buyer C, you the wholesale buyer B being in between, and then making a $5, $10, $25,000 wholesale fee for doing that. And again, check your local areas where you are thinking to wholesale, but for the most part, universally, it's been accepted over the years that you have the contractual right, to do what I just, outlined.
Right. And so for sure, like he's saying, check your local area, make sure that's the case. But for the most part, you don't need any sort of particular certification or anything like that. And then what about capital needed to wholesale? Do you need anything like that?
Right. So here's like the unspoken, real deal as it pertains to real estate investing, right? So those of you looking to, win a Powerball ticket or a scratch off lottery ticket as in terms of real estate investing, I would say if those are your desires or your goals or dreams, I would say, it's like going to Vegas and pulling slot machines, right? So if that's what your thought process is about real estate investing, then I think you need to readjust your mindset. Okay. Now let's take a look at the other side, the brighter side of, of the opportunity. So if you look at real estate investing, as I think you should view it as a real business opportunity, an opportunity to generate wealth, an opportunity to create multiple streams of income and cash flow, and an opportunity for you to, have control of your time, enjoy or pursue the lifestyle that you want, the personal happiness you want and deserve. And so if you look at real estate that way, then you'll do the things that I mentioned earlier on this call, and that is, build out a strategic plan for your real estate business. Now, if you go to a business plan site like bplans.com or bplans.org, they'll have thousands of business plans for thousands of businesses in hundreds of different industries. You know what all those business plans have in common? They have a budget for sales and marketing. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't matter what business you're in or what industry you're in, what vertical you're in, you cannot survive or make money in any business without leads, right? Yep. And so you will need to generate quality off-market seller leads of motivated sellers that want to sell their property at discounted prices or investor-friendly terms. Mm-hmm. So that you as the investor, you can get those properties like Nana was referring to, below market value, because you make money in real estate when you buy, right? So you're going to want to get properties at discounted prices or with flexible creative terms so that you can then, of course, achieve your cash flow or your profit objectives. And so to answer the question, sure, could you make money in real estate, on a deal by deal basis with a little to no money down? Yes. But can you have your real estate business thrive and grow year over year without investing any money in your real estate business? No, because you're going to have to invest money in terms of, your sales and marketing to bring in leads. You're going to have to invest money to have, an admin, a virtual assistant helping to execute lead follow-up and helping to take care of paperwork in your business. You're going to have to invest some money in your business in terms of your website, in terms of some of your infrastructure like a CRM, your business, just being able to handle calls and emails and things of that nature. So, yes, you can do a deal by deal, maybe put little to no money down on a deal by deal basis, but can you build and grow a thriving real estate business that's going to allow you to achieve all the goals that you want, to achieve the lifestyle, the personal happiness, and the wealth that you deserve? No, you're going to have to invest some money in your real estate business for it to grow.
So if someone's new, and they have a limited budget, what would you say is like kind of maybe not that there is a true minimum, but a bare minimum that they should have, that would really help boost them in terms of being able to grow their business? Like, yes, you can start with little to no money and get that first one or two deals maybe, but if they really want to make this like a sustainable business, what would be like the bare bones that they would need?
So I always, when someone says, how much should I invest in your sales and marketing, I always say as much as possible, right? So the more you can invest in your business, especially in your sales and marketing, your lead generation, the faster your business is going to catch legs and the faster it's going to grow. Now, that's the answer I always give folks. Now, if you want to say, okay, what's the least I can invest? Well, the least you can invest is nothing, and you can just do everything through sweat equity and try to make it work that way. But of course, it's going to be a harder road, to hoe if you are going to invest none of your capital in your business. Now, some people say, well, I don't have a lot of money. Well, there are always sources of capital that you may not think of. When I first got started 20 years ago, I can assure you, I did not have a lot of money. I had two young kids. I had a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. I was recently married. I was living in a small apartment and did not have a lot of money in the bank. I can assure you, did not come from a rich family. And family that actually I was able to tap into in terms of funding to help fund some deals. So my grandfather-in-law at the time was one of my first private investors, and my mother-in-law and my mother came along for the ride. So there's always capital in your sphere, right? In your network, friends, family, associates. I call them FFA, right? There's always capital there to be had. You just have to have a clear strategy, right? As I talked about earlier, once you have that clear strategy, now you have to put a game plan in place to attack it, day after day, week after week, month after month. And then you have to be speaking it into existence, talking to people that um, your friends, family, associates, and then beyond that, people that you're coming in contact with. When someone asks you, how are you doing? What's going on? Instead of you giving the obligatory, I'm good, everything's good. No, you say, hey, I'm super excited. I'm investing in real estate now. I'm working with a coach and looking to buy some short-term rentals in Nashville. I'm right now. I'm working on some seller leads, have some opportunities to buy some rentals. In Washington D.C. Whatever the case may be, you start talking about what you're doing, and you'd be surprised how many people will say, "Really? I didn't know that." And then it gets into, well, how's that working? Or, have you made any money yet? Or, things along those lines. And then, of course, you can then just go back and you talk about what you're doing or who you're working with, and really leverage their credibility.
Right.
And you always want to ask, hey, do you know anyone that may be interested in investing as well? Or do you know anyone that's interested in partnering with me? And it's a really nice, easy way to say it without saying it, to ask them if they want to invest, because they
Right.
might say, yeah, I know someone, or you know what, I might be interested. Because you don't even have to ask them. You just ask them, do you know someone that might be interested in investing in real estate or partnering with me? And you'll be surprised how many people, may be interested in working with you. And they don't need to have money. They can leverage their credit or their home equity line, or home equity in their home. So there's so many different sources of funding that you can plug into that you don't even know or you're aware of, that's all around you, and people that are willing to partner with you, to be a part of that funding, apparatus for you.
And that's absolutely true. And that's with all types of real estate. So even if, you're looking to buy and hold, or you're looking to do short-term rentals, like depending on the strategy you're using for short-term rentals, you're going to need money to actually get started. And you can absolutely have a private investor, and that private investor could be a family member or a friend or an associate, like Andre said. So don't like just think that it has to all come from you and your pockets. So I want to
So
answer.
Nana, I see a comment here. I want, if you don't mind, that I'll
Yeah,
just comment on. So a comment here from looks like it's Freedom Apparel.
yeah.
So the comment is, so having a mentor is good to keep until you make your first or second deal.
Mm,
So I'm going to address that. I've actually been a part of masterminds and had mentors from the day I got started, so I was spinning wheels, struggling for that first 12 to 18 months, then took the hand of my friend turned mentor, Sean, to get those first 6 properties in Wilmington, Delaware. And have had some type of mentor, some type of strategic coach, been a part of some type of mastermind where I felt like I wasn't the smartest person in my circle or smartest person in the room, so to speak. And I feel like that's important at all phases of your real estate investing career, and I should say all phases of your personal and business development, no matter what industry you're in.
yeah.
Because I have students now that have done 35 transactions. I have students that I've worked with and people I've mentored that have been investing for 10 years that have hundreds of transactions, and I have people that are just getting started. But the value in having someone that you can bounce ideas off of having what I call or liken to a board of directors for your business. The value of having that is that you get a diversity of thought, you get different concepts and ideas of best practices, and inevitably, if it avoids one mistake, common mistake that you may make, or one trap of a deal that you may get into that's not the best of deals, it's worth its weight in gold to always have someone that is a strategic mentor, a strategic advisor, someone that can, act almost like a board of directors for your business to, again, help you to get started and expedite and shorten the learning curve. And then, of course, provide a best practice, a blueprint for helping you to take your business to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, going back to both short-term rentals and wholesaling, there have been times with even my short-term rentals where I would be like, I'm not sure if this is going to be the best opportunity. And then I have a mentor that I work with as well in that space and just kind of run the numbers with them. And just having that, like you said, that additional pair of eyes to who has a little bit more experience or maybe way more experience than you to walk you through that process and just kind of what you need to be looking at and what you need to be thinking about can be so helpful and can help you either get into something that's going to be fantastic or avoid some pitfalls that, if you didn't, because you're so new and so green, you just didn't realize were even a potential issue is really, really helpful. So I think that's a great point. Just always having I have mentors for my short-term rentals. I'm always like learning as much as I can. I have mentors for I do course creation as well. I have mentors for that. So I think whatever it is that you want to get into, having someone who is ahead of you in the game and can kind of speak to that experience and help you through those times where you just aren't sure, or just guide you in the right direction is so helpful. So like when your question said after your first 1 or 2 deals, I would encourage you to, get those 1 or 2 deals, but then make sure that you're still plugged into someone who, as you're growing your portfolio or your business in whatever area it is, you can still bounce those ideas off of them and have them be your sounding board and say, hey, I'm not sure about this, or hey, do you think this is a good idea, right? It will be so helpful because there's nothing like experience, right? You could read about it, you can take all the courses, but having someone in your corner who actually has the experience and has gone through it for however long, right? It could even be like a friend who who's been doing deals for the last 2 years, or it could be a coach who you find who has been doing deals for the last 20 years, right? Um,
Yep.
that is going to be so, it's gonna what's the word I'm looking for? Like just put jet fuel in your business, right? It's just gonna help you go so much faster than trying to figure it out on your own. It's mentors out here, but how do you know if their track record is legit without spending a lot for these mentors. Yeah, Andre kind of touched on
So,
that a little
so
bit before, where you really do your due diligence about like looking and seeing what their track record is. See, like they should have testimonials, right? I have testimonials about people who I've helped get their first Airbnbs or scale their Airbnb business. Andre has testimonials about people who he's helped wholesale or do buy and holds or fix and flips or condo conversions, all that stuff. So you really want to look at the
yep.
testimonials because you can get a good idea and a good sense of how that person is helping people. And then also do stuff like this: go on their lives, go on their social media, get a sense of how they teach. That is a huge thing too, in my opinion, because someone can be a great mentor, but you also have to, in my opinion, you also have to align with the way that they teach, right? And the way that they go over their material in a way that you're going to be able to take it in and understand it. I have had some people who, like, they are so good at what they do, but I just don't connect with their teaching style, and I'm never going to connect with it. So they're just not the mentor for me. So really kind of doing that important work of taking your time to, don't just throw people your money, like get to know them, right? As much as you
Yeah,
can.
and so on that last point, get to know them. So, and not going to speak bad about any, coaching or mentoring program, no need to, but there are programs out there where the structure of the program is so large that you will never speak to the actual expert that runs the program, right? So you'll only speak to, maybe a regional coach, or you only speak to maybe, a vertical, lead, that's, coaching on, whether it's Airbnbs or fix and flips or burrs. Like, you'll never speak to that person that actually has the experience. So you want to make sure that if you're going to work with a strategic coach and a mentor, that you have some type of connectivity with them. Now, does that mean that you're going to be talking to them every day? No, but it means that you have some type of personal connection with them. Maybe there's a weekly call, maybe you can get, with them through calendar appointment or whatever the case may be. But that's something I would say I would put as a criteria in any type of strategic coach or mentor that I'm working with.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on a local coach versus, especially in real estate, a local coach versus someone who is, maybe in another state or something like that?
So I don't think you have to have a coach that's local to you. I think the more relevant, qualification would be having someone that has the experience to actually, execute your strategy. So let's say you live in Tacoma, Washington, right? But you don't want to invest in Tacoma, Washington. You want to invest in, let's say, Nashville, Tennessee, or Memphis, Tennessee. So should you have a coach that's local to you in Tacoma, or should you have a coach that's local in Memphis or Nashville? And then what if you want to invest in two or three different markets? Do you need a different coach for each market?
Right.
So I think you get where I'm going, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you just want to have a coach, a mentor that understands your strategy, because real estate, even though the demographics are local in terms of, what values are, rent and sales, what strategy may work the best for specific markets. Ultimately, a good strategic coach and mentor is going to be able to effectively show you how to analyze those markets, how to make the best decisions, how to, exponentially, quicken and fasten your pace towards achieving your goals, and then, of course, shorten your learning curve. So you don't have to have someone that's, 5 minutes, from, your home or in your local market, nor do they have to be in your target markets where you're looking to invest. They just have to have, working handles and knowledge on how to help you to be successful after helping you to build out your strategic plan.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Because my mentors are literally all over the country at this point. I started just going to local RIAs, so that's where I got my first mentors. And when I say RIAs, that's real estate investor associations. And, so I would just go to local meetings. And so that's how I met people like Andre, right? I met you at a really old RIA
Yes.
back in the DC metro area.
Yes.
So that's how I started. But, I have mentors now. Some live in California. Some are actually like two are in California. One is in DC, like yourself, or the DMV.
Hmm.
And you know, it's really about those people who have that experience that you're looking for. So guys, yeah, if you have more questions, definitely drop them in the chat. I don't want to take up too much of Andre's time. Um, but Andre, let me know like how, or let them know, how can they find you? How can they get to know more about you?
Okay, so I would say three ways. One, if you weren't here earlier, I will gladly send you a free copy of my book, Deal Mastery, Real Estate Investing Guide to Finding Deals, Joint Venturing, Taking Massive Action, and Leaving a Legacy. If you go to dealmasterybook.com, again, dealmasterybook.com, I'll send you a free copy of my book. Just pay for shipping and handling, and there's over $7,000 worth of bonuses that I'll give you online, instant access to when you get a copy of my book. So that's step one. And that book is not just about me; it's about the journey that I've taken helping other investors to either get started in their real estate investing business or to take their business to the next level in all different areas of real estate, whether it's buy and hold, wholesaling, fix and flips, condo conversions. There are case studies and examples of how I help investors to do that. And again, that's dealmasterybook.com. Also, if you are, someone that's out there that is saying, well, you know what, I already know that, this real estate thing is for me. I already know I want to make the commitment, to being an investor, a successful investor. I just can't find any good deals, right? And there's so many people out there that have, that struggle, right? I just can't find any good deals because if you're right now working with an agent, a realtor, if you're working with a broker, you're on someone's wholesaling list, and everything that gets sent to you, either from the agent or from the wholesaler, the numbers just don't make sense, right? So I get that frustration. And the best way to find quality deals is to go direct to the seller. It's called direct to seller marketing. You really just cut out the middleman. You cut out the real estate agent, the wholesaler, the broker, the auctioneer, and you go straight to the seller. And you'd be surprised how many sellers will just be like so happy that you got in touch with them, that you're able to provide a solution, a win-win solution to their problems. There's so many people out there that have just inherited a property. They have no idea what to do with it. They just are going through divorce. Matter of fact, this is no exaggeration. I just got off a call with one of my students earlier today that there is a couple that bought a property in Baltimore 2 years ago. They're now going through divorce, and this seller is willing to allow my student to basically take over payments on the mortgage. Okay, that property is going to be purchased with what we call, either subject to the existing financing. Don't want to get too complicated here, or just basically being able to leave the loan in that existing owner's name, that seller's name, and then my student's going to be able to take over the payments. So no banks are necessary, no large down payment is necessary. They're actually going to be able to just take over payments and start cash flowing this property about $600 per month. So those types of deals are out there. You're just not going to find them on the MLS. You're not going to find them from another wholesaler. You're not going to find them at an auction. So the only way to find deals like that is going direct to the seller. And so anyone that's interested in having us help you to start your first direct to seller marketing campaign, you can go to dealfinderschallenge.com. That's dealfinderschallenge.com. And in 30 days, we'll help to build your direct to seller marketing strategy and help you to be on your way to find your first or next deal in the next 30 days or so. So that's dealfinderschallenge.com.
Nice. Dealfinderschallenge.com. That's awesome. So, and I think you said there was a third way.
Yes. If that wasn't enough, okay. So the third way is just going to be connecting with me here on Instagram, and Nana is ahead of me in terms of putting herself out there and being on social media. And she's told me a while ago, hey, you need to get on social media. You need to get on Instagram. So earlier this year, I made the commitment to start putting out more content, educational content. And if you go and subscribe to my Instagram channel, Deal with Andre, so at Deal with Andre, and if you subscribe there, you'll be able to receive educational content like this that I put out on a regular basis. And if you just click the link in my bio, you'll see a lot of resources that are there that will help you to get started. So again, just to recap, I'll give you a free copy of my book if you go to dealmasterybook.com. If you're looking to get started with starting to find hot seller leads, off-market opportunities, you can go to dealfinderschallenge.com, and I encourage you to subscribe to my IG channel, Deal with Andre, and we'll build a relationship and go from there.
Awesome. Okay. So thank you so much. I'm gonna do my best to save this live, and I will
Okay,
tag you in it
please.
as well. Yes, absolutely. I'll tag you in it, and Freedom Apollo said, "Can you pin it?" I'm not there yet with the technology, so I'm gonna just
So
make sure
so
I
Nana,
save it.
Nana, if you can save it to your I think there's you can save it to your IG
Oh yeah, that I know how to do. He was saying
yes.
pin it to this live,
Oh,
and
pin it.
yeah,
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. No, so I'm gonna save this live. I will tag you so that people can go to
Appreciate it.
your page, see all your links in case they didn't catch them, and we'll go from there. But thank you guys so much. And if anyone on is interested in learning more about Airbnb and short-term rentals, you can check out the links in my bio. You can check out my free Airbnb class. And then you can also take a look at my Airbnb and Travel Nurse Hosting ebook bundle. It's 50% off right now. And then I've got my Airbnb course, and that is 70% off right now. You don't need any promo code. You can also start the course for $0 up front if you decide to purchase with PayPal, Pay Later. So all of that is with the link in my bio. I'm going to be doing more of these lives, just talking to people who've been in the industry for a while. Some of you may not know that I've been in the real estate space for a minute, so I actually really know some dope people like Andre, who can come on here and just share more knowledge, more than just Airbnb. I love the Airbnb space. It has done wonders for me, but I want to be able to share the different strategies that you can use, because all of what he teaches, if you still want to go the short-term rental route, you can do that. But this is just giving you even more options.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Nana, thank you for having me, and maybe we can do it again sometime.
Yeah.
And maybe put together a series of content for folks that, want to digest, content on a bite-sized basis. Because we could talk real estate, all night and still wouldn't get anywhere in terms of covering all that people want to know about and hear about. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll do it again soon.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much. If you have other questions that maybe we weren't able to answer, feel free to DM me, and I'll definitely get up with Andre again, and we'll do our best to get on one of these and answer your questions next time. All
All right.
right.
Thank you, Nana.
You're welcome. Bye, guys. Thank you all.
All right. Bye-bye.